Welcome everyone. This is the In FPL show. We are back for another week, and I'm joined by my two partners in crime, as always. First up, Alex Doyle. How are you, Doyle?
I'm good. Suffering on this bank holiday Monday after a beer too many last night, but otherwise good. How
I thought
about
you
you,
was good.
Jamie?
I thought you was going to say it's because of Everton losing again and the
Well, yeah, that
depressing
doesn't
state of
help.
affairs at Goodison.
Yeah, Everton losing, Liverpool winning in that fashion drove me to the
Oh,
drink.
nice. How bad's the hangover? 1 to 10.
It's a pretty bad one. It's just getting old. Like I only had beers as well. It's just
Yeah.
getting older.
Wait till
They
you get
they
my
start
age.
to take out. Yeah, they're becoming 2 days as well.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not good.
You
Not
still
good.
don't feel motivated the next day. That's the worst. But yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna be tough. Really tough Tuesday. How are you doing? You're right.
Very good, thanks. Very good. Depressing FPL week. I don't really want to talk about it. You know how people say, like, when you have a bad week, you just switch off, close the computer, don't think about it for a few days.
Oh, yeah.
It's exactly what I wanted to do. And then you two message saying, like, let's get the show out, let's do it nice and early for the fans. And I was like, oh, this is something I really don't want to do. But we can talk about it. It's fine for the All In Faithful.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
And also joined by the money man, the richest man on the planet, giving Bill Gates a run for his money, Elon Musk, who it is the one and only Joshua Waldridge. How are you, Josh?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Other than I went to a wedding yesterday as well, so I got very, 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 very drunk yesterday. So
Oh, yeah. So I remember a couple of messages on the group that was a little bit questionable, shall we say. So how was the wedding?
yeah, it was really good, mate. I might have set the record for the most drinks bought by a wedding guest yesterday. I reckon spent £300 on drinks at a wedding.
That's
You are
nothing.
the money man, exactly. Yeah.
Not for long by the sounds of it. It's all gone soon. I think.
That's not
Yeah.
like a bottle of wine for you, isn't it, these days?
It's one of Doyle's. Yeah, that's for Doyle. That is. I like the £6 stuff, mate, from the supermarket.
Yeah,
But
bottle
yeah,
of Prosecco.
yeah,
The
exactly.
fizzy.
Yeah. No, I was getting espresso martinis. It was just a
Very
bit
nice.
exciting. So I'm still awake. I haven't been to sleep since. So it's like, yeah, just absolutely wired.
Well, it should be a good show. I'm the only one that ain't had a drink, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll be okay, mate. I think that might equalise us. The fact that you're sober, we're both still drunk. Probably, like, we might
Okay.
be about as coherent as each other now. I would say. So yeah.
Beautiful. All right, then. Well, should we get the show started? What is coming up today, then, Doyle?
Right, I'm going to try and get it right this week. So we're going to start with the game week review, where we'll look at our scores for the previous game week that's just gone, and yeah, see what happened. We'll then go into Fire and Ice, where we sort of pick out the players that are on fire and those that are struggling, and we might want to ditch. We'll then go into the hot topic, which this week we're going to talk about sort of takes 3 weeks in, like teams we think we can target, teams that we think represent really good value. So yeah, we'll do that, and then we'll finish it off with the old game week preview, looking ahead to next week.
Much better this week. Absolutely smashed it. There we go.
There you go. It's that hangover's helping clearly. So I guess we'll kick it off with the game week preview.
I'll just put myself on mute because I think the loser goes first, don't they? Yeah. So I'll just wait. I'll wait for a bit.
You've got a while to go. All right. Well, I'll go straight into this one. I believe it is me.
Yeah.
Yeah, depressing FPL week for me. I don't really know where to start, to be honest. It's one of those weeks that the highly
Let's go
owned
player by
players,
player, JB.
they was popping off, and then everyone I had depressing. It started off good. I had Chilwell on Friday, so I got my clean sheet. Obviously, a few people had Jackson, who scored, so that was very good for them. A lot of Chilwell's quite highly owned anyway. I can see Josh chuckling already, just reviewing my team, probably.
I've just seen it for the first time. Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic.
And then, yeah, Saturday was just blank, 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 blank everywhere. Just nobody could do nothing. The two players I brought in, Mbumo and Wissa, primarily I brought them in because the next 4 games, 3 of them are at home, and all 3 are good fixtures, even the away one's okay. And I was just thinking short term, really. Because obviously international break in between that as well. So, that's almost well over a month. So I like their prospects, but obviously they both blanked. So that was not good for me. The Brighton boys absolutely stuffed by West Ham. So Stupinan and Matoma, the ones I said you've got to hold on to, they're not sells. They couldn't even get anything against West Ham, so that weren't good for me. Not even 2 points each. Then they got 1 point each. Pickford in goal. Everton, what a shambles. Can't even keep a clean sheet. I mean, even with good fixtures, I think Pickford's got to go soon. No, it's not good. It's not good. Richarlison, what a mess he's in now. He is not looking good. I mean, we was all saying he's a season keeper. He's going to break the game before the season started. He's getting 0 points for me. He's not even getting to 60 minutes. He's just not getting fed the ball enough, creating enough chances. I did have Saka, who got his goal. So I was pleased with that. But, he's very highly owned, so it didn't really alter things too much. But good to see that he slotted it home. Haaland yesterday, and then Salah was the only differential who rewarded me, really, with the last minute. Beautiful assist, to be fair. It looked like the outside of the boot through 2 defenders, curled it round, and Nunes smashed it in. And Gvardiol, let's not forget Sheffield United, old Bogle, one of my old favourites from last year. He popped up with a screamer, obviously. Of course he did. Yeah, not a good week for me. Go on, take it away. I know Josh is itching to say something.
I mean, it's one of those. It's a good team on paper. I think it's just everything went wrong. It's just really funny. Like Gvardiol is like the icing on the cake, isn't it? Right at the end, just like they can't even give you them 6 points. You know what I mean? They're just like absolutely not. Oh yeah. I was surprised you saw Rashford, mate. I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it is a good team on paper. And these sort of weeks, I just brush off anyway. You're gonna have so many bad weeks throughout the season, and you just got to carry on because you'll have the good weeks as well. But I suppose the one criticism of my team you could say is the fact that I did sell Rashford. He obviously delivered a few assists in that, and I don't own Fernandes, but it's just my strategy. I'm thinking at the moment where I want to go cheap in midfield apart from Salah. I've got a bit of money in the bank now as well where I've sold Rashford, so I can do a slight upgrade this week, which I'm still happy about. I still think if I had Rashford, I still wouldn't be desperate to keep him at 9 million. I think the 6.5, 7, 7.5, like some Maddison, them players keep up speed with Rashford, if not outscore him, you never know. So, yeah, got punished a little bit, but we move on.
Over to you, Doyle.
Yeah, I didn't do much better, to be fair. 46 points. Slightly above average, but not for proper managers, it would seem. Sammy Johnston was always going to be a tough clean against Brentford. But Palace then also ruined the Brentford clean sheet of Rico. So a 1-1 was a pretty bad result in that game with none of my players getting a return.
No, one of your players did get a return. He's first on the bench.
Yeah,
he killed the clean, remember?
Mega haul.
What a guy.
Yeah. Yeah, good man, Anderson. I've had him on the bench twice now. 2 out of 3 weeks. Returned in both, obviously. Hauled in both, actually.
He was first on the bench week 1, wasn't he? With like 10 points or 9 points.
Yeah. I'm struggling with that one. Saliba. Yeah. Saka decided to, play. Who was it who scored? Andreas threw on goal, didn't he? In the first 30 seconds, so that clean went out the window very fast.
Yeah.
Tarko, typical Everton. It's just unbelievable at this point. Like, we can't score goals, and then we just concede them in ridiculous fashion at the end. You saw the ball. I don't know if you've seen the goal. It went off the back of his back, So he went to head it, missed it, hit his back, and went in. So it's tough times being an Everton fan at the moment.
Yeah.
I liked his interview after the game. The striker who scored, actually, they were like, "Oh, did you mean it? Or did it bounce off?" He said, "I don't care. It went." Like, I just love it when they say that. They just want that goal so bad. You know what I mean? So yeah, I just love it. Just bundle it in.
Foden came on to ruin my Anderson points off the bench. At least he did get an assist, which
brilliant assist as well, I may add.
Eradicated a little bit of the damage, so that was good. He could have actually had like 3 assists when he came on. He was absolutely electric again. I'm not sure. We might touch on in the next section about whether he's what's going on with him. But yeah, Mitoma, shit. Rashford, 2 assists, great. Salah, shit, but got away with it. Bruno, best player in the game. Haaland, shit, and Wissa, shit. So that's kind of what it is. I mean, not having Saka killed me again. But a penalty, kind of was hoping Odegaard might take it and steal it, but didn't this time. So yeah,
no Chelsea as well. Yeah, it was a bit of that was just 3 points for everyone on the Friday.
yeah, yeah. No Chelsea. It was just such easy points, for Chelsea owners. Anyway, going to your team, Josh.
Yeah, I won't. I don't like to dwell on these kind of weeks. So, Pickford, rubbish, absolutely terrible. We've already talked about him. Estupinan, I wasn't keen to begin with. I was going to sell him this week. I've talked about it a few times, but he might just about get away with staying again. I think.
Finally, some justice there. Yeah. Finally, a blank.
Yeah, you deserve that one. You definitely deserve 1 out of 3 blanks. Like, let's be objectively fair. You know what I mean? It's absolutely silly. Saliba 1 point. I don't know how Arsenal conceded 2 at home to Mitrovic Fulham, but there we go. That's just shocking defensively. That is just so bad. And Fulham could have won it at the end as well with the breaking away. Was it Traore?
Traore, yeah. And you knew he was never scoring in a million years.
Yeah.
I was just hoping he did. It would have just been so good. Like he did it to City a few years ago. I remember when he played for Wolves and he just ran. Oh, it would have been so good.
10 men for him at that point as well.
Yeah. So Saliba 1, Estupinan 1, Pickford 2. It sounds pretty crap so far, doesn't it? Chilwell 6, really good. But a lot of people have got him. So again, I know Doyle doesn't have him, but I know like a lot of other teams we've seen have got him, I think. So
I don't really need to get him, and he's so good. Like watching that game, he was just amazing.
I didn't like the way he didn't shoot though, JB. What was he doing there? The absolute plonker.
Yeah.
He's clean through on goal. Oh, I don't know. And then the midfield's where I got all the points really. So Maddison 10, I kept the faith. I thought he was going to start.
He was so good. There. He was so good.
Part of the reasoning why I kept him was I thought even if he doesn't start this week, he's a great asset for the week after the week after the week after. So I thought I'll take a benching on the chin, same way some people did with Foden, for example. Like there was sort of rumours he was going to be benched. So I took it and he started and he looked absolutely phenomenal. Again, I think he's competing with Bruno Doyle for one of the most important people to have at the moment.
Yeah.
I think it's those two are just unbelievable. Bruno 12, Rashford 7, Saka 8. These aren't anything special. They're just the guys I picked in week 1. You know what I mean? Who I just sort of decided I was keeping for 3 weeks. Richarlison 0. We'll definitely talk about him in a bit.
But the thing is, this is where you get all your points bumping up to 74 points now. When you get a Dogie off the bench for Richarlison. Whoa! once the game updates with the auto subs, in beautiful.
Oh God! I got 22 points from 3 Tottenham assets, and I only got 10 of them on the pitch somehow. It's so crap. It's just like they all looked really good as well. Udogie's brilliant. He looks a really good player. Like maybe not player, but definitely FPL asset. Looks absolutely brilliant going forward. Really attacking. Love that. Jackson 7 finally got his goal. Deserved that one, didn't he, JB?
He did, yeah. He's working on. He ain't played that badly, I don't think. A lot of people, if you don't get points in FPL, people just think you're shit. But he's actually been okay the first few games. He's been lively. He's been involved. Like you compare him to Richarlison up front, he's been involved in everything. He's been tracking back, been having shots. He's been putting himself about. He's looked a really good player. So yeah, been quite impressed with him so far.
I'm not sure he's a goal scorer though.
No, I think he's probably just good value for this upcoming run, though, isn't he? I think, and I don't think he'll particularly get many goals.
He only really broke in the Villarreal team last year, halfway through the season, and he scored like 11 in 12 or something. Pre-season, he scored near enough every game. It was only the first 2 games he didn't score. So
yeah, just watching him, he just doesn't seem to have that. I don't know. I think I've watched every Chelsea game this season. Actually, weirdly, I said this yesterday. I've watched more Chelsea games than Everton games this year somehow. But he just doesn't seem to be. Yeah, jury's still out for me on whether he can do it in the Prem.
Yeah, I mean, I just think in this particular team, I think they actually look quite attacking in a similar way that Tottenham do, for example. So I think he might just naturally get points, even if I don't think he's particularly I don't think he's going to be in the top 10 goal scorers in the league. I don't think, but yeah, we'll see. We will see.
Yeah, well, we're on last week, and I think hot topic should be a bit short this week, so we might have a little bit more time. But just like it was a fun weekend of games, like particularly the Saturday, the Arsenal game, the United game, and then the Newcastle game yesterday was a good one as well. Even the Sheffield City game was good actually as well. So,
Have you spat on your screen or something?
I must have, yeah. What the hell happened there? Did you see that? I was like, what? How have I done that? It just went. I just went like a hole in my. I mean, it probably looked better with half my face covered, to be honest. But we'll be all right. And then just to Haaland's crap. Obviously, we all know that. We've all discussed that. He is absolutely rubbish. Can't believe he missed a penalty. What the hell? And I'm worried about my bench now, to be honest, because I think Osula's not going to start anymore. I don't even know. I don't think he did start yesterday, did he? Oh, he did. He just got booked again, like usual. There we go.
Yeah, he can't.
That's his second one of the season already. Excellent.
But you wish you had Archer now, Josh.
Yeah, I know. I think he will start. Archer will start. I think, in all seriousness, I think he will start. So,
I think you pay that money. You've got to start him, haven't you?
Yeah, a JB sneaky bench pick here. He kept him.
He was always going to repay the faith. He was always going to repay. I've had him on the bench for 3 years. I knew eventually it would come good, And now
he spotted the talent a while ago, didn't you? See?
Yeah, exactly. You pick the players that are talented. Eventually they'll make the team.
You knew the same about Turner as well, Doyle, because he might get dropped soon. That's why you went Dubravka.
Well, exactly. Yeah, Dubravka's going to come through in a few games. He'll get a team. I'm telling you.
If you'd have gone Areola there, in all seriousness, you'd have been like, "Wow, I've actually like a few moves ahead of quite a few people." Like you're picking people's wild card team at that point. You know what I mean? Which makes it.
I didn't know Areola's 4.0.
Yeah, he is absolutely unbelievable. He's just a top goalie. Like I just really like him as a goalkeeper. A lot of the saves he's made so far, obviously he's had a penalty save in the first 3 games. I think he had 11 saves on Saturday against Brighton. Yeah, just a good way to point. He hasn't even kept a clean sheet yet, and he's absolutely flying on the point. So yeah.
Well, I guess that's a nice transition into the next section, which is going to be fire and ice.
Exactly. On we go to fire and ice. Is that good, JB? We good?
Perfect. I was trying to say we do some nice smooth transitions for everyone, and then literally we've all just forgotten the first one. I'm studying Rodrigo from Man City stats and things like that. And
stop being ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Anyway, everybody, let's move on to fire and ice.
I'm going to talk about.
I was with someone yesterday that, sorry, just a segue, that I was with Will yesterday and he showed me his wild card and it was the worst thing. He's not, he's more of a casual player, I'd say. But he showed me his wild card and said it's the worst thing ever. He's got 2 CDMs in there, John McGinn and Rodri. I was like, why the hell have you got Rodri? And obviously he then pops up and bags the winner. Was it the winner? I think it was the winner, right?
Yeah, it was the winner. Rodri's trending at the moment. He's seen him in quite a few fan teams. I think he's just the right price where you can maybe go for it on Fanteam. I think it's too much, but yeah, I've seen him in a lot of that. But it makes sense there because he's 90-minute man, so it does make a bit more sense. But yeah, let's start with. I'm torn. I don't know whether to go for the most fun one or whether to go from Friday night. I want to talk about Gusto. Let's talk about him. What do you guys think? It's too late for that one now? Do we think like we can still go there, or have we missed the 14 points? What do you think?
It's all dependent on Reece James still. And at the moment, I don't think nobody really knows. So for me, personally, I don't think I'd be looking to buy him because you might get news later in the week that Reece James is going to be fit. Maybe not this week, but then you've got 2-week break because we've only got 1 fixture and then the international fixtures have come along. So if you don't play this weekend, he's going to have, 3 weeks or so to get fit. So, I don't think that you can be looking to get him unless you're happy just to bench him. If your squad's really strong, you could take a chance on him. But from what I hear, I don't think Reece James will be out much longer than after the international break. So
until he picks up his next injury.
Well, there is that as well. But yeah, he's got a bit of time. Basically, what I'm saying is he's got a bit of time to get fit now for sure. So you're kind of picking Gusto just for the 1 game. And I'd imagine that they won't rush Reece James back knowing his injury record. So I think Gusto's nailed for this week. But then after that, with the international break, the rest, nobody knows. It's likely that James is probably going to be fit again. And worst case is on the bench and maybe comes on a little bit early, plays 30 minutes or so, and who knows. But yeah, tough one. I think I'm a more longer term player, so I'd be looking elsewhere for someone like your boy Udogie, Josh, for a little bit more, but probably more upside long term.
Yeah, so you think if someone might be wildcarding over the international break, that's a really good time to take it for a 1 week punt, right? For Gusto, but if not, just avoid it, yeah.
Yeah, if you're fully committed to using your wildcard in the national break, then yeah, that's fine. Not a problem at all. Because, he's got a good fixture this week and then got a good route to points. He's attacking. He's obviously got 2 assists in the last game, so he shows that he can do it. But other than that, I don't think I'd be looking to get him.
Cool. And he's ice for you, Doyle, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, as in, I shouldn't go there. Yeah, unless, like you say, you want to wildcard in the international break, feel free.
Yeah, like if you've already got him, I think you are keeping him because I think, like as Doyle alluded to, Reece James might go back down like a sack of potatoes the first week back after the international break. It's his injury record is crazy. I'm surprised Chilwell's still standing, to be honest. He's doing all right so far, but yeah, he's an ice for me as well. I wanted to go for the fun one now. I'm just too excited. I want to talk about Darwin Núñez. Obviously, scored his 2 goals yesterday. So much fun, right? Like it's such a fun pick, right? But Doyle, any interest?
Always interesting when Darwin Núñez is involved. It almost made me enjoy the goals, despite the fact it's for Liverpool, because I just love that man so much. And there's such goals as well. He just absolutely buried them. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because obviously he didn't start. I think you've got to give it another week probably, just to see what the lineup is against Villa. It's not a great fixture either, but home to Villa, but then you got Wolves away, West Ham at home. Opens up a little bit. I'd probably give it to international break. See what it looks like next week.
JB, he doesn't seem like someone who's your kind of pick though.
No, not for me. Again, just security starts. I can't see him benching Gakpo, for instance, every game.
I think he will. I think if Darwin's fit, he wants to play Darwin. He's a centre forward. He's the only known centre forward they have, really.
Potentially, but then I still think he'll get 60, 65 minutes and you'll start shitting yourself again, and then he's going to make that sub, either Jota or Gakpo, Diaz, Salah. There's just so many mouths to feed up front. And I still think if Núñez ain't scored, that he'll be dragged off first, ahead of sort of like the likes of Salah and that. So it's tricky, but I don't, if he's in form, you can take a punt. Like you say, he is a really fun pick. And fixtures look quite good for quite a while as well. The 2 tough games they play is Spurs and Brighton, end of September and October. But I think Spurs, they're so attacking, they let in a lot of goals. And then Brighton, a similar sort of team where they've been vulnerable at the back. So the 2 tough games are scoreable for someone like Núñez, for instance. And then Wolves, West Ham, Everton for sure, Nottingham Forest, Luton. Really, really good fixtures. So yeah, don't mind Liverpool at all.
Yeah, it's not for me. I think he probably averages 100 minutes every 2 games, probably. It's just not enough for me. He'll start 2 out of 3, I reckon, of the next 3, let's say, just as a bit of a mini short-term thing. But I don't think it's enough for me still. I think there's just Watkins and Jackson, they're going to get 90 or close to 90 for each of the next 3 games. It's just it's not as much upside. Definitely not as much upside for someone like Watkins. He's a very much a ticker. But yeah, I just love these Chelsea fixtures so much. I just can't look past my boy Jackson, I don't think, at the moment.
Yeah, I'd be more tempted to do it if the Liverpool fixtures were a little bit better. We've got more upside there. But
yeah, this one's very much ice for me because I'm a boring manager. Not for me.
I think it'd be ice for me as well. I'd prefer Watkins or Miss Jackson.
Yeah, he's just starting to simmer for me. He's on boil. He's starting to simmering away, and soon he's going to start exploding.
I want to check a pivot, one of the pivots actually. I'm just going to check the price very quickly because Awoniyi. Let's talk about him. He scored 3 and 3, right? Is that right? I think that's right, isn't it?
He scored 7 in a row. Scored in 7 games in a row.
Yeah, scored at the end of last season in so many.
He just beat the club record.
He's someone I tipped. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. He's someone I tipped very avidly on Fanteam because he's 6 million there, but he's 6.5 on FPL. he's done these 3 goals in tough fixtures as well, because they've played obviously at Old Trafford and the Emirates in the first 3 weeks. Sandwich either side of Sheffield United at home, which is arguably the best game in the league. But yeah, Chelsea away again this week. So yeah, they just had a rotten start, didn't they? Really, but then it picks up a little bit. So you actually
pretty grim.
all the away games are horrible, aren't they?
Yeah.
They've started with the 4 biggest grounds in the country.
Away, Brentford at home is not good. They've got 1 good fixture in the next 5.
Yeah, I just saw the Burnley game, so yeah. You've because you suggested this guy Doyle, and obviously he's been on my radar since week 1, but he was injured week 1, so I never went with him anywhere in the end. But I guess no interest from you then, Doyle, based on the fixtures. You said no.
No, I don't think so.
He's in good form though. Can't argue with the form.
Form's good. The form's good, but not one for me.
I'm more of a fixture player as well, so I can't see me going there yet. I think this might be one for like week 10, 11, maybe, when the fixtures they must get good at some point, right? So maybe around then it'll be good.
Fixtures are so bad for so long at the moment, so once the fixtures do turn, then he's worth looking at. But just for now, I think poisonous fixtures, can't have them.
They've really found this guy. Like, I mean, he's looks like he's been a real find. I know he was injured from January to April, I think. He'd have scored even more goals for Forest already by now if he didn't miss 3 months of when he first signed. Literally, he's done absolutely brilliant. Fair play to him. Yeah, he came from Union Berlin, so
started 17 last year and scored 10. So that's better than a goal every other game.
That's what I mean. Like, imagine he'd have been like, I think he'd be on everyone's radar if he'd played the full season. If he'd have played like every game from January to April, because he would have been like on the same amount of goals as Watkins or something, or Wilson or something like that. You know what I mean? Like sort of 16, 17, 18 mark. So yeah, really interesting one. Still going under the radar, but not for much longer if he keeps scoring every game. When he sets records and stuff. Yeah, I guess we need to talk about Raheem Sterling. We didn't cover him last week. I'll be honest, he wasn't on my radar last week at all, but he has forced his way onto every FPL radar imaginable, I think. We watched it together, didn't we, Doyle?
We did, and he looked very, very tasty, to be fair. He looked back to his best, weaving in and out defenders. Despite the fact Chelsea won 3-0, I thought a lot of the team was very underwhelming in that game, but Sterling wasn't one of those. He sort of lit the game up. Was pretty much at the centre of everything good that Chelsea did in the game. So, yeah, he looks, good.
So many good positions in the middle of the box as well, wasn't it? He was like playing Jackson's position for half the game, literally. It was like just being in the middle of the box when the Gusto crosses came in.
I've just seen his price as well. He's so cheap, isn't he? 7.1. It's just too cheap.
If say, Doyle, you knew someone who had Richarlison in their team, would you say moving to Sterling could be a good move?
Never, because Richarlison's my boy, so I'd never recommend anyone sell him. But Sterling does look a good option at that price. But I'll say that.
Yeah,
there's so many good options right at the moment. It's just so difficult.
And everyone's got good fixtures. Still, obviously, Man United are playing Arsenal this weekend, but Tottenham's fixtures are really good. City's are good.
And I think Man United Arsenal's not a bad fixture like for FPL assets, right? I think there'll be goals in that game. Arsenal can't defend. United
not good for Saliba, is it? No, I don't think it's good for Saliba, is it?
He's firmly on my bench, but it's so difficult. It's just so many good assets at the moment. It's really good because it means you can sort of get different, which I love doing. But it's tough. It's tough because I've got another one we'll talk about. Well, let's keep on Sterling actually. JB, what are your thoughts on Sterling before we move on?
Yeah, I think like you guys said, he looked really good on Friday. And he actually looked good in a couple of the other games. It's been lively compared to last season where he was on the periphery of the games a lot, whereas he's been so much more involved in the matches so far. And just again, Chelsea's fixtures are so good. You got Forest and Bournemouth up next. Villa, tough game, but that's at home. And then you got Fulham and Burnley. So really good value as well, 7.1. Anyone can downgrade someone to him probably in midfield, whoever you got. But just the only issue is squeezing him in. I mean, I'd have 11 midfielders in my FPL team if I could at the moment because it's such good value for money everywhere. And I keep saying it, but I'm downgrading everyone in midfield because there's so many good options. But I'm going to end up with like everyone 7 million, and I'm going to miss Rashford, Bruno, Salah because I'm all on Mitoma and Bumo, Sterling, and the likes of them. And I started with Richarlison as well. So who knows? He's definitely a differential, I think, because nobody really started with him. So if you get him in now, whereas a lot of jumping on the likes of Mbeumo and Maddison, he's probably going to be the least owned out of them, I guess. I'm not sure how this week could go, but yeah, it'd be a fun pick to boost you up if he carries on his good form.
I might end up wildcarding in week 9. I think I've just looked when the Chelsea fixtures end, which is week 9. And after that, they got Arsenal, Brentford, Tottenham, City, Newcastle away, Brighton, and Man United back to back.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to go from 100 to 0 very quickly. I think I'm going to want 1 or 0 after that point, whereas I probably want 3 right now. So, yeah.
Literally the 7 hardest games you could wish for, probably.
Back to back, yeah. That's
Yeah.
insane, isn't it? That's absolutely insane. So yeah, that's going to be a very popular wildcard week, I think. I don't know if it falls on an international break as well, but if it does, it'll just mean even more wildcards get played, I think. So yeah.
It does as well, yeah.
One to keep in the back pocket in your head, I think. Or have 2 transfers that week so you can mass sell some Chelsea players, you know what I mean? Because that goes from as good as it gets to as bad as it gets. One more, should we do? Sorry, mate. Go on.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think there's going to be a lot of points chasing going on these next, next few weeks at least, with all these good options. There's going to be people jumping off good options for good options.
Yeah.
And it's quite difficult at the moment to sort of determine where to go. Like if I was wildcarding right now, I've got no idea what my midfield would look like. There's just so many good players there to choose from. Tough.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, because the wildcard gives you that chance to free pivot and like take the best 5, doesn't it? But like most people are going to stick with what they got right now, because I can't see anyone who was really well tipped at the start that's just a disaster. Like maybe a Havertz, that's a pretty bad disaster, I would say.
We knew that.
But other than that, like Maddison's unbelievable. Bruno, Rashford are doing well still. Saka's great. Got his penalty back as well, so they're sort of flip-flopping penalties. That's good. Odegaard in himself is really good still. And then you've got your cheap boys like Mitoma. Eze still looked pretty good. He hasn't got a return yet, but he's looked pretty good. And Bumo's obviously brilliant. He just had a blank this week, so yeah, there's enough guys to be picking from.
Diaby as well. We're not mentioned Diaby yet.
Yeah, he looked electric again. That's the second game he's looked electric now. He looked absolutely brilliant.
I've not seen the highlights of that game, but goal and assist.
Yeah, 6.5 as well. He's like another one to add to this list. It's getting quite a big list as well, and like it's really hard, like you say, Doyle, points chasing it's called, isn't it? Like people are gonna flip flop when they shouldn't be flip flopping, and people do that a lot. They just flip flop because they saw that their player blanked this week. I was trying to look in my midfield, but none of my midfield is blanked. So like maybe in someone else's team, like an Mbeumo or something,
like a Mitoma and Mbeumo. Yeah,
just don't sell them. Just stick. Yeah, just like especially Mbeumo, who's got good fixtures. Like he's actually got really good fixtures.
I think that's where I'm struggling with a little bit. Is it worth selling some of these players that have worse fixtures and just jumping on the fixture runs now, because it's just so many good assets? It's kind of hard to figure out where to use your transfers. I
think it is. I think it's worth jumping on the fixtures. I really, really do. That's why Sterling's top of my mind this week. I think I'm thinking about Sterling. I think, but it could be for any of them. That's the thing, because obviously,
that's where do you jump off? Yeah.
Should we sell all of them? Just like start again? I might just wildcard. It's just more
that's what I was thinking. I was like, should I wildcard them? But I do like a lot of my picks, but then I also want all these other guys. But then you can't have all of them in one team, so it's like it's just tough.
Yeah, as I've talked about here, Brighton's fixtures are really bad. They do get really bad now quite quickly.
So I might look to sell Mitoma them.
Yeah, I think you can get away with holding one Brighton asset at least. I think you can have one at least still, and some people will just stick, and that's absolutely fine because they're very cheap. But yeah, I think selling one wouldn't be a bad option either. I don't think. Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll talk about that in our team section in a bit when we start to look ahead to next game week. Did you want to do one more here, Josh, or do you want to move on to the next section?
No, let's move on. I was only going to say Mbeumo, to be honest, but I think we all still quite like him, don't we? I think, yeah.
Yeah, we covered him in the last section as well, but yeah, good fixtures, good player. So shall we move on then?
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's move on to the hot topic.
Yeah, so what I've asked us to do this week is just like say one team that we think are just too cheap, basically based on what we've seen in the first 3 weeks. I think there's going to be enough for us to say. I think there's a lot of cheap assets and teams on the game this year, and then maybe the team who we think have looked the worst so far, or like one of the worst. And yeah, I'm going to exclude Luton from that because I think they are absolutely abysmal, and I think we all sort of universally agree on that. I mean, as Doyle hinted, they made Chelsea look pretty okay on Friday, and Chelsea were really bad in the first half. In particular, like Casado looked like he was tripping on bananas again and stuff like that. He just kept falling on the floor, didn't he? But Luton, just like it was like Sunday League defending. The amount of times Jackson the ball went over the top and they just like let him just walk or run through. It was just yeah, they are atrocious. So that's the first 3-1 definitely of the bad teams. Doyle, is there a team that you think look particularly bad as well as Luton?
I guess JB first. I've not had a full thing.
Okay, we'll do some live changing. Yeah, there we go. JB.
Well, I think to start this season, especially, there seems like there's a real gulf in class between the teams that have come up and the rest of the division. Whereas a lot of seasons, the teams are fighting it down below. You know, you get the likes of Everton, Palace dragged into it last season. This year, I think it could be pretty clear cut. The teams going down. It could be the 3 teams that have come up. They look absolutely dreadful. Sheffield United, they haven't been hammered in any games, and obviously they put up a good fight against Man City yesterday. I just think you look at their squad, you look at how much money they spent, next to nothing. They've just the only real sign of note is Archer, who they brought up front. And they just don't have enough goals. So I think mine's Sheffield United. Just they haven't got enough firepower at all.
Do you think there's someone who might get pumped still, like a few times this season? Do you think like
for sure,
there is a 5-0 on the cards or something? Yeah.
No, like I said, they've shown a lot of fight in their game so far, and they haven't been hammered. But I think they probably will
Next week, maybe. Mope's coming to town.
Maybe not in that game, but overall they just don't have enough talent. The defense is aging. It's you still got Baldock, who was here a couple of seasons ago. He's knocking on a bit now, and yeah.
It's a good point, though, as well. We talk about the promoted teams there, JB, and it's like normally most seasons you sort of see the promoted teams come out the blocks quite fast. They've got a lot of energy. There's crowds all pumped behind them. They sort of see a couple of good early results. Whereas this year, it's just not happened for any of them. The team I've watched the least out of them is Burnley. I don't know if you guys have watched much of Burnley this year and know how they're getting on. Because I missed the first game of the season. Didn't watch the game yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, Burnley are a little bit tricky. To give them credit, the first game against Man City, they was always probably going to get beat. It was always an uphill battle. They're obviously not going to have much possession of the ball in that game. And last year they had crazy possession stats. So I don't know whether Company's still going to play that way this year or not. Because in that first game, nobody keeps the ball against Man City. And then obviously game week 2, they had a blank. They was meant to play Luton, but because of Kenilworth Road's redevelopment, they couldn't play. So they've only played yesterday as well. So I think it's a little bit hard to judge Burnley, considering they was so good last season in the Championship.
We have one less data point as well with Burnley, right? They didn't play game week 2, so.
Yeah. So yeah, it's tricky with them. But again, just looking at their squad, I don't feel like they've got that many great players. It's still very much a Championship squad that they come up with. And they had a couple of players on loan from Man City last year as well, who they ain't retained. And they was 2 of their best players. So losing them, not signing anyone really of note who I know of, to be honest, and I think they could still struggle.
Yeah, I think Burnley's different to the other two. They were much better than the other two last year. The manager's really good. Like he's already got a proven track record as a manager, which is pretty mad because he's a young manager, obviously. I remember when he was in my FPL team and he pumped that goal in against Leicester. That was like one of my favourite ever goals. It was just so good. But now he's like in 2-3 years, he's really proven himself as a good manager. I like the philosophy. I think against half the teams in the league, they'll have more possession for sure. Like anyone in the bottom half, And even the likes of a West Ham who like to give the other team the ball, I think Burnley will have more possession than a lot of these teams. They won't have more possession against like Brighton or Villa or Man City, for example, but like the teams who like to keep the ball. But I think against some of the other teams they will. So, and I think that does win you games. Like just being on the front foot in football matches, I think it can win you games if you do well at keeping the ball. So I'm not giving up on Burnley yet.
Who's your whipping team then, Josh?
So as I said, Luton are definitely the worst. But after that, I think.
Come on, say it.
No, I think you're going to be really surprised with this one. But I think this team is crap on paper as well. I think they're really crap on paper. And their manager's very, very attacking now. So I think Bournemouth are going to get pumped by quite a few teams this year.
They were one of mine. Yeah. They were very good yesterday on Saturday. Sorry, at all, were they?
No, not at all. And they've got Brentford this week. And your boys, JB, they could do some damage this weekend, I think. The deadly duo of Wisser and Brumo. I think they might do something to Bournemouth this weekend. I think Brentford will win that game.
Yeah, like I buy that. They looked really, really poor against Spurs. And yeah, like you say, they're trying to play a bit more attacking football, but the problem is they've got no good players, so they're going to struggle.
You don't rate Fulham either, do you, Doyle?
No, I don't rate Fulham. They obviously looked a little bit better against Arsenal, but it was kind of one of those weird game scripts where because they got that early goal, it sort of changed a lot of what's going on. But the team I'd probably say actually is Wolves. I mean, yeah, but they obviously won 1-0 at the weekend against my boys, but they were not good. Like we absolutely battered them for the vast majority of the game. Again, I think it was 1.8 XG or something like that. Didn't score because Everton things. Also had an offside goal that was disallowed by like half a centimetre sort of thing. I just don't think they can defend. Like watching the highlights of that game, just created so many clear-cut chances that I think they're going to get a few pummelings. Like they've already had. They already lost 4-1 against Brighton, wasn't it? So they're going to get pummeled by a lot of good teams this year, I think.
It's a weird one with them because they completely outplayed Man United in the first game. Like they really were better than Man United in the first game. But I think it was a bit of manager bounce, wasn't it? They all really wanted to impress him in the first game, and they did. To be fair, they all played really well in that game.
Yeah, and it's just sort of since then all unravelled a little bit. Any other honourable mentions? Anyone wanted to mention?
Probably have to talk about Everton a little bit.
Right?
No, come on, they should have been top of the part. I just wanted Doyle to pick Everton. That was all.
I genuinely still think we're going to be fine, and I think we'll be comfortably fine. I think we're playing good enough football. We're creating chances. Need to start scoring the chances. Obviously, we've got a new striker, and we'll talk about a new centre half, which we definitely need because our centre half pairing at the moment is problematic, and our defence as a whole is problematic. So we might concede quite a lot of goals against good teams. To be fair, because you're looking at it as we've got the best keeper in the world. Yeah, okay, that's good. But after that, you've got a 38-year-old Ashley Young who, has forgotten how to throw the ball, despite his experience. Then we've got Tarkowski, who seems to have lost half a step this year. He was really good last year, but this year so far he's looked really poor. Then you've got Michael Keane / Bramthwaite. Not good at all. If Michael Keane plays, he costs us a goal a game at least. Not seen too much of this other lad yet, but I mean he's still young, so Joy's still out, and then Patterson's no good either. So yeah, we could get some pummelings to be fair from the good teams, but I think we'll create enough chances to win enough games to keep us safe from a relegation perspective. But yeah, not a bad target from an FPL point of view, I guess.
The other one I have to mention is whenever Nottingham Forest are playing an away game, they concede so many goals away from home. It's happened over this year and last year. They just unravelled against Man United yesterday. And it could have been more than 3-2. It probably should have been more than 3-2 in the end, to be honest. They are so bad defensively away from home. And it probably helped by the fact that they have Aurier playing a fullback. I mean, he's abysmal defensively, so yeah. And Willy Bolly's there fighting his corner as well, so yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the takeaways is I actually don't mind Bournemouth. I think they might surprise a few people, but jury's out on them, to be fair. But as well as the 3 teams that come up who are abysmal, you've also got Fulham, Everton, who we touched on, and Wolves. So them three we've just mentioned. Just so many negative vibes coming out of there. Like Wolves got no money, apparently, selling everyone. Gary O'Neill's on like a bag of crisps a week as his wages. Like just them three. If it does keep going that way, and you've got them three and the three promoted teams, that gap could be huge. So it could be one of those where you have to target the fixtures quite a lot more than most seasons, where it's not quite a level playing field. That when you do get a really good fixture run, if you're playing 2 or 3 of them out of the next 4 or 5 games, that's a perfect opportunity to jump on some players FPL wise.
From a league finishing perspective, I think Luton and Sheffield United will finish miles below everyone else. I think they will be like 20 points below potentially. I'm not joking. I think the 18th spot is going to be a really interesting one. I think that's wide open. But I think Sheffield United and Luton. I mean, Sheffield United sold their best 2 players after coming up, by the way. Like that was another thing we linked to Burnley. Really strange goings on there as well.
Yeah, I think Burnley and Bournemouth could surprise some people still. But I think they might struggle with quality in their team. So yeah, wait and see for me.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of so on the flip side of this, teams that you wouldn't want to have players against, I think obviously Man City is one. But after that, in my mind, there's no fixture really that I look at and think that's a dreadful fixture. A lot of the good teams this year are pretty open at the back, like Arsenal showed that against Fulham.
Liverpool,
very open. Yeah, that was funny yesterday.
Newcastle are normally very defensively resolute, and they set up very defensively as well. So I think that they are one of the worst fixtures, especially at St James's. I think that's a really bad fixture. I mean, I know Darwin Núñez managed it yesterday, but not everyone's like Darwin Núñez, are they?
I think Mopé might struggle to score at St James's, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, I don't really like playing Crystal Palace. I think they're quite solid, I have to say. And I've quoted the stat about 5 times, but they're the 5th best defensive team over the last sort of 2 seasons based on defensive data. So yeah, that's obviously a horrible fixture. Normally Brighton we'd say, wouldn't we? But they imploded completely, didn't they, against West Ham?
They're not good. They're not good defensively. I was going to say Brighton. They are good enough, sort of whereby they'll beat most teams comfortably and have enough of the ball to stop teams getting chances. But they do have these weird fixtures though, Brighton, in them. Like when Everton, we beat them like 4-1 last year or something like that. It's just they just have these weird results in them occasionally.
Yeah, conceded in every game so far this season.
Yeah, they play a very similar philosophy to Burnley in the sense that they try and defend by keeping the ball, as Doyle said there, and so they're not good defensive. I mean, Webster made a shocker at the weekend. It was a really bad mistake to put someone through on goal for Ward-Prowse's goal. It was he put Antonio through, I think. Again,
you look at the defenders there. None of them are good defenders, really, are they? You got Lewis Dunk leading it as he was solid enough, but not a world-class defender by any means.
Yeah, so I think we're concluding that Brighton away is pretty bad. Newcastle, Palace away are pretty bad, I'd say as well. From just the way they set up, they're not going to get pumped. They're absolutely not going to get pumped. I don't think any of them. Like you say, Brighton have the random games where once in a while, Everton can beat them 5-1 or something stupid. I mean, I've never seen a game. I remember that from the back end of last year. And then obviously City is horrendous because you just don't get the ball at Man City. So you're not going to score more than 1 goal because you don't get the ball. So, yeah. What about Chelsea, JB? What do you think? Do you think that they could still be got at the back? Or?
Yeah, I think you have to say so. After you still have to take into account last season and how bad we was. It was just absolutely shocking. Weren't just conceding 1. It was getting beat by everyone. And
well, I mean, we're only 1 week removed from the West Ham game as well, remember?
Exactly, yeah.
I don't think a 3-0 win against Luton doesn't dispel my concerns about the Chelsea team, to put it simply.
No, even with West Ham, only had 10 men. But, I mean, hopefully now, this season, with Pochettino in charge...
With the 3 CMs as well. You'd think with 3 CDMs or more defensively minded, it makes you a bit more solid, doesn't it, I think?
Yeah, last season, Kante being out for so long really, really affected us. So now we've got Caicedo and then you've got Lavia been signed as well. That should protect the defence a lot more. And maybe Levy Colwell as well now he's in the team. So hopefully you can build a good partnership with Diassi and Silva. They look pretty good so far, I'd say. So hopefully it ain't going to be worse than last season for sure. But I wouldn't suddenly start banking my house on Chelsea keeping clean sheets at all. It's not, that isn't something I'd do.
Right, let's do the other side of this. Let's do one value team each. One team we think is just ridiculous value on the game still. And as I say, there's plenty of them. So I'm willing to go last and I'll reel off about 10 more at the end, probably. Doyle, who do you think? Who did you pick?
Why do you keep going to me first? I'm clearly not prepared for this exercise.
I just enjoy you having to just admit that you don't do anything.
No, I'll pluck one out of my arse.
A lot of research has clearly gone into this.
Spurs for me, probably the best team from a value perspective. Is that a value team? Does that count?
Yeah, definitely.
Players are cheap. You've got
they're underpriced, aren't they?
Yeah, Udogi's great. 4.5. Then you've got obviously Maddison. Just looks really, really good for his price. I think he's a 9 million asset. Really, he's as good as, in my mind, like he's a better asset than say Saka or someone like that. To be honest with you, I'd rather have Maddison. So, and then obviously Richarlison is an interesting asset at the moment. 6.9. Price is coming down. Time to buy when everyone's selling. That's why I say.
Becoming cheaper and cheaper by the minute, yeah.
Exactly.
Richarlison.
That's why I didn't start the season with him. Josh just wanted that little bit more value from him when I brought him in. So I'll go with that one.
He was almost 8 million. I thought after 3 weeks, I thought he was going to be 8 million. I thought you were going to lose 1 million on him, but no, it hasn't quite worked out like that. Yeah, I love Tottenham. I think they are brilliant assets. Son might even come into this at some point. If he starts playing like an actual premium, he's only 9.
What about Sarr? Pape Sarr? Obviously, he's not a attacking. He's 4.5 though, which is ridiculous. Obviously, right now is not a time for him, given we all want 52 midfielders. But yeah, another well-priced asset potentially for later in the season.
Yeah, he could definitely come into it, couldn't he?
Yeah, if we all switch to 3-4-3 or something like that.
I can't see it. I know I'm very convinced on things, but I really don't think that we're going to switch from this midfield thing this year. There's just too many of them. But they can't all flop for at the same time. You know what I mean? That you're just going to be jumping onto a new one. Literally, it's going to be like a conveyor belt.
But then, how do you fit in Darwin, Haaland, and Beto into one team? It's going to be tough.
Beto. This is a live exclusive because no one else has heard of this person, Doyle. So you do need to probably explain this one. The 6'5",
the 6'5" giant we signed for 30 million from Udinese. Yeah, he's a monster. He's gonna be banging in the goals left, right, and centre soon. And what's so obvious? It's so obvious what's going to happen because we've been clamouring for a striker for the last 2 years because Calvert-Lewin always gets injured, and now as soon as we sign this guy, Calvert-Lewin is never going to get another injury again. And we're just going to have to figure out how to play with either with them both. We can't even do that though. It's not like it's a big and little combo. They're both massive hold-up players. So yeah, that's definitely going to happen next. But yeah, at least we got someone now for
Do you think they're going to put him as the same price as Haaland?
I'd imagine so. Yeah, 14 million. I think he's actually a bit taller than Haaland as well, so maybe a bit more expensive. I'd say. Probably
better at penalties as well, I reckon.
Oh, I reckon so, yeah. He was pretty unlucky, that penalty, wasn't it, Jesus? Off the inside of the post, one of those where it just goes completely opposite way. It
was a good pen. Yeah, it was actually a good pen. It's just bad luck. Yeah, it just can't be helped. JB, value. I hope you say what I want you to say.
Value. Yeah, I agree with Doyle. Mainly Maddison and Udogie, they're the main two from that team. I don't want to be too obvious, and there's a couple of you're going to touch on most of them when you read them off. I'll go for Aston Villa. I think they're really, really good value, who are a bit of a differential because, like I said, I don't want to just say the obvious teams and everyone's already got most of the players. But I think Villa, apart from their battering in the first game against Newcastle at St James's, last 2 games look really, really good. And from an FPL perspective, they're very attacking. They've scored a lot of goals in the last couple of games, getting forward, attacking style of football. And they've got options as well. We all mentioned Watkins on Fire and Ice last week, and we all said that we still thought he was pretty much fire, I think. 8 million isn't a huge price. He's not a premium as such. It is a little bit pricey compared to
he's well
the
priced.
midfielders.
I think he's correctly priced, right? 8 million.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's only because there's cheaper midfielders who can potentially outscore him some weeks. But he's just he plays so many minutes for that team. He's the focal point. And now that they've got Diaby as well, who, again, 6.6 million, cheaper than the majority of the midfielders. He settled in so quick. He looked good in pre-season. He's carried that form on. His confidence to be flying. He's looked good in every game so far. And I think him being around Watkins can really help Watkins. And even because Watkins is one of those strikers that gets so many more assists than most, because he's always involved, he can be, he'll carry that on with Diaby. Is there anything else you want to say about Watkins while we was on him?
I think he's just too cheap when the fixtures get good, which is quite soon. I think he's going to be in a lot more teams. I mentioned earlier, I think not on the podcast, but Jackson to Watkins is going to be a really popular move, sort of around that game week 9-10 mark. Pencil it in. I'm telling you, there's a perfect fixture swing almost. So Chelsea's get bad and Villa's get very, very, very good from week 9. So yeah, I think it's going to be very popular. So if you want to get ahead of that, you've got to go earlier. But I think it's just a really good natural time to jump on if you don't have him right now. I think just maybe wait till then.
The big shame about these Villa assets is the fact they're not on pens. Because Douglas Luiz has taken them, right. I think if either Watkins or Diaby had pens, I'd be, it'd be the stage of ripping up your team to get them, sort of thing. But without that, it's just slightly worse. What about the defense, JB?
In a vacuum, do you like the likes of a Mitoma and Buemo still more than a Diaby, or do you think it's really close?
I think it's really close. I do think Mbemo is the best of them. He just plays a bit more advanced than the other two.
And pens, which he's had two of already. Sorry.
Exactly. But then between Mitoma and this Diaby guy, seems pretty close. Like I said, I've still not seen the game yesterday, so I can't comment too much on that one. But Diaby's looked good in the other games I've seen him, and he did well against Everton, despite not getting the points. Yeah. What about the defence side of it?
I like the defence as well. When we the prices first come out at the beginning of the season, me and Josh went for a little walk at lunchtime, and two of the players we mentioned were, well, maybe even more than that, pretty much the whole of the Villa defence, because we thought they was underpriced. The only issue was when we started the season, we weren't quite sure which ones were starting the season. So Pau Torres, he leapt out at me because I think he's very good on the ball and he can be quite attacking as well. 4.5 million. I think he's pretty much nailed now that Mings is out the team.
Definitely. He's like, the Mings injury has fallen so nicely for him. Like he's nailed as anything. I think he was going to play anyway, but no risk now.
I think maybe where Mings is, he's been such a servant for the club, captain and at times, and he didn't want to just replace him straight away, but I think he probably would have eventually. But like Josh said, good point with the fixtures. That's when I think to look at the defence, when they've got the easier games that they can clean in. It's just the value, really. 4.5 for Pau Torres. And then you've got someone like Cash as well. Again, Cash, will he play every game? We're not quite sure yet. They have got options there, but he was out of position this weekend. So he was further forward and he obviously scored 2 goals. So if you've got him playing out of position, scoring every game at 4.5 million with good fixtures, he could become essential. But again, far, far too early. I mean, he played instead of Bailey's position yesterday. So whether it stays like that, I'd be very sceptical. But yeah, very good price. And then Diego Carlos, if he gets good game time as well, 4.5. I mean, there's loads of them. So even Digne, you never know. I mean, he was assisting for fun recently. So
2 assists. I can already see myself falling in that trap again. That's
Villa triple up with Digne captain, eh?
Exactly. I'm worried about this team if Martinez is out for any more time, because Olsen is absolutely terrible goalkeeper. He is so bad. He said he should be back next week. He said he might not make midweek. They've got Europe conference or whatever it is they're in. But then the weekend he's sort of touch and go. So should be fine. Especially it'll be fine for their fixture run anyway when it comes around after the international break. Yeah, this was the shape I thought they'd play actually, but I thought one of Dean or Cash would be on the bench. You know what I mean? I thought it would be this. I've just noticed what who they played, like with the back three, Carlos, Consa, Torres. This is what I thought they'd play in week one. Maybe they should have. They wouldn't have got pumped by Newcastle then. But yeah, I think this makes sense to me with the personnel they've got. I like Pau Torres quite a bit more than Diego Carlos. They're the same price here, so I definitely like Torres more. Cash is obviously brilliant if he keeps starting. Like he's probably the best of the lot if he's nailed. I'm just not sure he's going to play that position every game, but he's probably got it for a few games now for like similar opposition and stuff. He probably does have that role over Bailey now, which is really interesting. As you say, could be a game breaker.
Yeah, the only thing I would mention, you got Alex Moreno, who was really good at the end of the last season. He ain't coming back just yet, but I think after the international break, he'll be back. And then again, that murkies the waters of the defence a little bit more. Is another one in there. So again, who knows? And then Ramsey as well. Yeah, I was going to say Jalen Ramsey then, but yeah, Ramsey's coming back.
Just realised that you mean
where Cash was out of position. He probably it's another body in midfield as well. So they've got a really big squad now. Once everyone's fit, obviously. But
was just going to say that they're a really good team. They've got a really, really good team now, and it's deep as well. They've got sort of two for every position almost. Like Tielemans is on the bench for Villa. Like he's absolutely brilliant. Like I really rate Yuri Tielemans, but
it's a shame that game's not on TV next week. Liverpool away, so that'll be a really fun game to watch. I think.
Yeah, they've got Chelsea in week 6
a little bit. With the Liverpool and Newcastle, I thought that'd be a great game. Sort of got robbed of it by the red card early, but
yeah, Villa got Chelsea in week 6. I think that'll be a really good game as well.
Yeah,
I think whenever Villa play, I think it's normally a good game. So, like, even you guys had a fair, like the XG was quite high for both teams, wasn't it? With in Villa Everton, wasn't it? Like,
we started all right. I don't know what the XG was in the end, but I think we started off all right, and then they just absolutely spanked us after they scored the first. But
yeah, proper good team.
Who wants to go with was it Doyle?
Josh.
No, we had Doyle's.
We've already done Doyle. He took the best one, didn't he? Remember? I like Chelsea still, I have to say. I think Chilwell's way too cheap at 5.5. He's like a premium defender, especially if he keeps playing as a left-sided striker. So he's too cheap. Sterling seems way too cheap. I think Jackson's probably 0.5 too cheap for right now. Probably not overall for the season, but for right now, I think he's 0.5 too cheap. So this sticks out as like the defense is actually correct, I think, other than Chilwell, by the way. I think they're all 5, which is completely right, obviously, for the centre-backs.
Chilwell's 5.8 now.
Yeah. Sanchez 4.5 is really cheap as well. That's like good for a decent goalie spot, I think. It's not. There's other good 4.5s as well, but he's well priced, I would say.
Are you signing a keeper, Jamie?
Yeah, not sure. I was just going to say, as long as once that window slams shut, then Sanchez becomes an option.
Surely not. Me and Josh were laughing about it on Friday. You spent all this money, and you've got probably the worst keeper in the league.
I know.
You've got an apprentice at right back. It's just so funny.
But yeah, I like him. He's a cheap player. If you can get tap into these fixtures, and then you don't need a keeper for. A lot of keepers can be fixture proof anyway. Top goal scoring goalkeepers at the end of the season, they never come from the top teams anyway. There's always the lesser teams who outperform. So yeah, I like Sanchez at 4.5. But like you say, there's quite a few 4.5s you can choose. So
I just can't escape the nagging feeling with Chelsea that it's all just. I think I can just feel that they're going to be the team that lets everyone down. Everyone's going to have triple up on Chelsea. I mean, they started off all right against Luton, obviously, but I just can't escape that feeling that. Yeah, I just can't escape that feeling. It's just gonna every week if people are gonna buy more of these players, it's just gonna let them down. But we'll see.
I mean, there's no way Sterling's gonna blank this week when I buy him. Surely, like there's no way that could happen, right?
That's what I mean. It feels great. I mean, Chilwell just looks amazing, right? Like I think he's I think he's pretty much essential at this point. Like I'm gonna have to figure out a way to get him.
He's already 5.8 as well.
I know. I was just saying that.
0.3.
Yeah.
The chalk's been printing quite a lot of value. I've just been looking at the price rises every day, and like my guys who are just the popular ones, I guess Stupinan's gone up quite a bit as well already. Like it's like the ones that are the popular ones have just continued to rise. Yeah,
I noticed that. They do that league wrap up thing in the chat. They got like that dossier thing, whatever it's called. It's really cool, by the way. If you're listening and haven't checked it out, worth doing. But my team value was the lowest going into last week in the league. which sort of shows that the template is definitely printing.
It's just Chilwell and Estupin, and 0.6 between them is ridiculous. And you've got neither, obviously, so it's just like, yeah, you had to eat a drop on Reece James as well, didn't you? I think, did you?
No, I didn't. I got him out. No, I did. Maybe, I'm not sure.
I actually don't know, but yeah, that it's the two that you didn't have is the main problem anyway. I think, but
yeah, and Saka as well. Saka's gone up 0.2 as well.
Rodri went up 0.2 as well.
Who was that? Sorry,
Rodri.
Rodri.
Yeah, it's one of those where a lot of casuals, they wonder who to bring in. They just look who scored the most points over the course of the season, and whoever's at the top, that's generally who they get in. And he's obviously up there. I think is Rodri top point scorer in the game. I think he is.
And we're joint with March in midfielders. I don't know about overall.
Yeah, March and Rodri, top point scorers in the game. So it's literally just people clicking him because they know he's got the most points, so gets transferred in so much.
The next team, we'll finish on this one, by the way. But the next team I'm going to say, it looks like I'm just reading the page from top to bottom as well. But West Ham are obviously top of the Premier League, or were before yesterday. They're too cheap, right? Areola's too cheap, like 4 million. That's 0.5 too cheap, right? So that's the starting one. Ward-Prowse is 6, really good. That seems really good. Probably doesn't make the cut just because of who he's against, but I think that is like a bit of an underpricing on him. Mm-hmm. Bowen is playing unbelievable. He's 7 million, and I think he looks really, really good as well. He looks really brilliant. And then if we can figure out which defenders are going to start, even with all the new signings and stuff, I think they're all 4-5 as well. So
Antonio as well at the moment.
Yeah. He's back to his old self, isn't he?
He looks back to his old self. Exactly, 6 million.
6. Wow. I'm on the page and I missed that. I somehow went past him. I went Areola, Ward-Prowse. Yeah, and that's in a position where there is less options, so that might actually be a really reasonable route. I think. I picked him up on draft this week and he scored obviously straight away. So he was on the waiver wire. I don't know.
Friday as well.
Yeah. And even Paqueta's looked pretty good, but I think there's a ban maybe looming on him, so we might have to not go for him. I don't think, but I think West Ham are too cheap. Yeah,
Paqueta's just a great footballer. Probably not an FPL guy at the moment.
They're going to miss him, aren't they? They're going to miss him massively, I think, if he gets banned.
Yeah, and that's my sort of hesitation from West Ham is that I do look at the team and I'm not completely sold that it's as good a team as they've looked so far this season. For sort of mid to long term, but at the moment they're in form. Antonio's backfiring, Bowen's backfiring, so the price to buy at the moment.
They're interesting for sure, and I think you're right. They are underpriced. It's just there's better options in other teams. Like Bowen is definitely underpriced. He was 8.5 to start last year. He's only 7 this year, and I think he's almost playing as good as the 8.5 suggests. He should definitely be 7.5 or 8, but. It's just there's too many other better options. I mean, you're never going to go for him over Mbeumo and Matoma when you can get a saving money in the bank. I don't think so.
A 0.5 underpricing this year almost isn't enough, is it? That's the thing. Like it is in most positions, but in midfield, there's about 5 of them that are like 1 million, 2 million too cheap, and we'll disagree on because we all think different ones, and it's like. I think they're all underpriced is the point, which maybe means none of them are underpriced, but compared to a few, they're all underpriced. You know what I mean? So I think Bruno's way too cheap. I think he's supposed to be 10 genuinely, but I know other people don't agree with that necessarily. So I think it's more obvious with Mitoma and Mbeumo that they're supposed to be 7.5 at least. You know what I mean? And they're 6.5. So yeah, I do get it, but I'm shooting for the moon with Bruno. I really think he's a premium asset, and I think he's going to prove it hopefully this season.
Yeah, I think you can't have, although I love value, and that's how I play the game, to get all the value players in as quickly as possible and then spend the rest. It's hard to spend the money. I mean, you can't have Ward-Prowse at 6 million and then Mitoma and Mbeumo, Diaby, and your whole midfield isn't above 7 million. Yes, you'll have the best value for money, but at the end of the day, you need someone like Rashford or Bruno perhaps who's going to score you the extra over the course of the season, even if it's 30 points or 40 points. Why would you rather have 2 million in the bank when you could have more points? So you do have to spend it somewhere.
Well, right? It becomes a structural question too. So, for instance, me and you both have Salah, right, JB?
Yeah.
Meaning we need more value players, whereas Josh doesn't. So you can sort of go that next tier up, and it's a question of what's printing more points long term, right? Having the value with the sort of guy who should be scoring more points than
Yeah.
the tear down isn't, but or whether you're better off, going for those sort of mid higher price guys, like having the Rashford, Bruno, Saka, Martinelli's of the world.
That's basically my idea at the beginning of the season, that having £6.57 million players now and Salah, that Salah's going to score just that few more points for me overall, and then you consider the whole package in midfield, that's the winning combination. Didn't work this weekend though, so I'm not quite sure. So we'll see.
Yeah, Salah could do with scoring some goals. That would help us a little bit, I think.
And the reason I like that particularly is because we ain't got Kane this year. So the only premiums is Salah and Haaland. So I want both of them. Hopefully that they blow the game open and score the most amount of points by quite some distance, and then I'll have all the other value for money players. That's how I want to play it, as opposed to just getting in, not having Salah and then just getting average price players.
Yeah, so I've got two things. One, I was going to say is I think Trippier becomes a serious asset again in the next few weeks, which, again, that's a premium, just in a different position, right? So that could be one way I'm able to spend some money, for example. That could be like having him over...
Minutes queries there, right? There's a lot of minutes questions when Champions League comes in.
Definitely, yeah. And it's the same as the Man City players. So I think if you've got, I've only got Haaland, I think having a minutes risk there might be okay if I haven't got the other minutes risks, you know what I mean? If it's not just one big thing where I could end up with 9 players one week, you know what I mean? As long as I haven't got that, I think it's all right. And then the other one I was going to say is, I think there's a really good chance this year that Salah doesn't finish as the highest scoring midfielder. I think there's just so many that might get him this year, from just that tier down that we're talking about. He's still the big favourite to finish as the highest scoring midfielder, but I think this is a good chance for someone who's way cheaper to catch him this year. And Odegaard and Saka weren't a million miles away last year either. So, yeah.
I don't say it this year. I think Salah will be the highest scoring midfielder.
I think Bruno might get him this year. I really do. I think it's all based on this theory that I think Bruno might get 200 points this year. But if he does, I think he has a chance of beating Salah, because I can't see Salah getting what he's got him the first 2 or 3 years he was in the Prem. I don't think he'll get that many points anymore. So, yeah. I wonder if he might start getting a little bit more rotated as well. They don't have Champo, do they? But he might just start
they still just don't have anyone on the right hand side is the problem. They just don't have anyone really that can fill in for him on that side. They all just play off the left, don't they? Stuff.
It would have to be just a left-sided player playing on the right, wouldn't it? But they do have wide players, so as in there is a chance. But
he will be rotated a little bit. He always has been, right?
He's quite old now, so
yes, he is.
Yeah, and obviously we're never going to be fully happy till the window closes. I don't think he's going anywhere this time, but it might be in the summer he goes somewhere, or in January he goes.
I think next year. Okay.
Yeah. So if that's happening, he might start getting winded down before, in preparation for that. You know what I mean? I'm thinking from week 30 onwards. It depends what they're in and stuff, but I can't see him challenging for the title. So I think, that might be moments where they start to find other options for that right-hand side. So they might sign someone in January as well for the right side, because they do have such a lack of depth there. If he goes down, if he gets injured, they've got no one.
Yeah, it's weird because they've got a lot of, like you said, wide players. So it's kind of weird because, did he want to add more players to that list of attackers? But at the same time, like you say, it's that right-hand side. I thought it was interesting watching the game yesterday as well when that new guy they signed came off. What was his name? What's his name again?
Shobby.
No, the one. The CDM.
Oh, Enzo.
And whatever his name is. I say it was interesting when he came off, because that was the only time I noticed him in the game. I don't know about you guys. I just didn't.
Yeah, that was
literally just didn't even realize he was playing.
Yeah, it's a really interesting one. It was very it was a very underwhelming signing, the Endo one, because obviously it was dirt cheap compared to the 2 other options they were in for. He's got a lot of experience and he's played for good teams, but we'll have to see on that one. It didn't look good yesterday, did it? So
such a weird game that Newcastle just basically stopped playing, didn't they? Really after the red card and stuff, they didn't really try and push home the advantage too much and then just got punished. Weird.
Right,
Move on.
the game week preview.
Let's do it this week. Who's going to start?
Shall I start?
Yep.
Josh, will you put your team in the chat as well so we can see it before we go through it? But yeah, because I don't have a clue what I'm gonna have to do this week. Palace just signed a new keeper, which is not they're getting Henderson right, which is not ideal for Johnston. I don't know if I'll get away with another week of it.
You will. He'll play this week.
Right.
So Henderson isn't a massive upgrade on Johnson. He is better, but he's not a massive upgrade. So I think Johnston gets till he makes a mistake. I think that's my judgment. Yeah, Sam Johnston's a really good goalkeeper. Like Henderson's probably like third or fourth in line for the England jersey, and Johnston's one below. Literally, it's just that it's so close. It is really close. So, but Henderson is better. They're obviously signing him with the intention of starting him, probably. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think he gets till he makes a mistake.
Okay, that's more positive. Then I've got Tarko at back and Sheffield United away at the moment. I'm going to play that, I think. Anderson, he's definitely not going to get any points now that I'm playing him. He's on the bench, but good fixture, obviously, for Palace, Wolves at home. Rico Henry, Bournemouth at home, so good there, I guess. I'm very scared about not having Chilwell. Just watching him every game is just terrifying, and I really want to get him in, but I guess it would have to be for Saliba if I did that.
Can you get there with that money? Have you got the money for that?
No, I've got 0.5. So I'd have been able to get there a couple of weeks ago, but not anymore. And then it's like the midfield's good. It's just a question, like we said, there's so many good options at the moment. It's like Foden as well. What's going on with Foden? Why didn't he play? They talk about him travelling up separately. It was all a bit strange.
He had a stomach
he was
bug.
injured, wasn't he? Right.
He was sick.
Okay, so he'll be back for next week. He
didn't want to start him.
Yeah, he'll
I think that's why he travelled separate, because he obviously slept in his own bed or something and come up the next day. I don't know, but yeah, he weren't feeling well.
Okay, that's good. Because he looked really good when he came on as well. I just hope he just seems to fall out with Pep all the time. So I was hoping it wasn't something like that. Okay, so I feel confident there. Then I guess it's Matoma then. What I do in Matoma. The fixture run is bad. There's a lot of good options in sort of price range now, like you said.
I think Rashford might be a reasonable sell as well. I think it's the thing is, it's all just opinion at this point, because they're all good options. Like every player that you're starting this week, it looks a good team, you know what I mean? But do you move Mitoma? Do you move Rashford? You got one transfer or two? Sorry.
One.
Yeah, so you could roll as well. Easy roll. You could, you could roll, right?
Yeah. Then it's the international break as well, so you'd have two over that.
Yeah, well, that's it. I was thinking of rolling. I was thinking of wild card, and I was thinking of a bit of everything. So, yeah,
you could wild card this time. I don't think I would, but it's you have got the goalie problem that's going to be an issue at some point.
It's the defence as well. I think you've got Everton, 2 Palace, a Brentford, and a Luton. Which doesn't sound great on paper, does it?
The fixtures are really good, though, aren't
they? It looks a great defence this week. I could see you completely cleaning house and having cleans all round, but
it can also very easily see the opposite, and there's not a lot of attacking threat going on there, is there? Well, actually, aside from Anderson, who obviously has got a lot of attacking threat, clearly.
I think just if you
disallowed goal week 1 as well, didn't he? He was offside by an inch in week 1 for a goal. He's a monster.
For a wild card for you, though, then you could look at someone like, you could get Chilwell in, you could get Udogie at Tottenham. There's a lot of good options you can get over Tarkovsky, Anderson, Kabul.
That's what I mean. It's a weird team. Exactly. I can easily see myself rolling. I can also easily see a wild card being okay here. But then it's just like you say, you just end up swapping a lot of good options for good options, sort of thing. So it's like
you probably have to hold off on the wild card right now. You can maybe do it next week though.
Yeah,
if you were to get in Chilwell as a bit of insurance now, but it can't be worth 4 more points than Tarkowski this week, right?
Probably not. No, I don't think so. If I could do it free, then yeah. But
personally, if I was you, I'd be looking at downgrading Foden to one of the like Mbumo or Diaby maybe.
Oh no!
Then use that money to get Chilwell.
Not if he was just ill. He's just such a good asset. If he's fit and ready to go against Fulham at home, no way on earth am I moving him. I think he's way better than all those other assets.
He's one of the few midfielders who's got hat-trick upside, which not many others have that. I mean, obviously Richarlison does, but there's a few Foden has scored a couple of Premier League hat tricks, I think, like, which is pretty mad for just someone who just plays CM and just dances around, like, and plays off the left sometimes as well. But like, just he's absolutely class, and he's looked brilliant this season. Last week against Newcastle, he was unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable.
He was great when he came on yesterday. He was fantastic. He was only on for 5 minutes. He was probably the best player on the pitch. Probably did more than anyone else in the entire game. So I think he's so good. I think it'll probably be. I'm tempted then to move Rashford down, to be honest with you, because I think, like you say, the wild card could very much be on the books next week, given my defence is such a state. So I could potentially move Rashford to a Sterling or Mbumo or something like that, or do
the thing is, if you do Rashford down, you've then got the money for Chilwell the next week, so you might just do that and then wait another week. You know what I mean? Because it's once you've solved the problem of having the money,
true.
Like, that would make this week way better. If you could do Saliba to Chilwell for free, bench Tarkowski, because let's be fair, bloody Archer's going to score against him off your bench again anyway. Because that's what's going to happen.
That's what I should do. I should start Archer. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, nowhere near. He can't get anywhere near your starting lineup, unfortunately, with the 7 midfielders and strikers you got starting. But
so I guess it's either Matoma to Mbumo, I can afford that, or Matoma to someone like Diaby, or do Rashford down and get in Sterling or Maddison.
We could circle back here, actually. We could go back to what I said at the start. If you wildcard over the international break, you can do Saliba to Gusto or Kabore to Gusto and play Gusto. Because then you sort of committed to the wildcard then, I think. And I think that might be a nice thing for you to do anyway, I think. Just with, like, there's never going to be a really good time to wildcard this year, I don't think. Just
Problem is, Chelsea aren't keeping a clean sheet. There's no chance. They're up against fucking Awaniyi. He's on the streak. He's scoring.
You should probably be getting him instead. Yeah, actually, let me switch on that.
He's a guaranteed 6-pointer.
God, he's a good player as well. I really, really like him. Every time I've seen him, he's one of these guys who just looks like he loves scoring goals, and he's just an absolute nuisance.
For that goal, like literally, he burst a blood vessel to get that ball, didn't he?
It was such a shit goal.
He's done so well in the build-up, and then
his finish was so bad.
He bundles them in, mate. He scores headers. He just loves the dirty. He doesn't score good goals. Like, he scored a couple of good goals, but
I do genuinely think, though, that they will concede. Chelsea will concede this weekend, which can make them not want to do Gusto. Obviously, Chilwell's different because he is just so advanced. Like, he is playing left winger, left forward. Whereas Gusto doesn't have the same attacking threat despite his returns this week. He's not playing anywhere near as advanced. Decisions.
Can you afford Mitoma to Raz?
Nope, 0.1 off.
It's literally always 0-1. No matter what transfer is proposed, it's always 0-1 off, isn't it? Just like always. Yeah, Rashford to
Raz or Maddison. I don't know if I would prefer out of those two.
It's close as well. They're both really good for this week and the next few weeks. So yeah, you'd have both on wildcard, would you?
I don't know. I wouldn't get rid of Foden on wildcard. I wouldn't get rid of Bruno. Would I get rid of Salah? Probably, maybe.
I think if you get rid of Salah, you'd end up on similar to what you've got. So you'd have, but you wouldn't have anyone as cheap as Mitoma, probably. You know what I mean? You'd go to Maddison, Raz probably is your cheapest one. Foden, if you like him, fair enough. Like, I think he looks brilliant. Bruno, and then you'd have a punt, wouldn't you, that no one else has got, probably. You'd have like an 8 million guy or a 7.5 or something. So, yeah. I mean, Bowen's got Luton this week.
Yeah, I was going to say that earlier for people that are doing the 1 week punt. West Ham assets are bloody good.
It could be great for a 1 week punt for you, because you can afford Mitoma to him, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gone up yet, so I think it should be all right.
Yeah, I could do that.
There's so many good, but as I keep saying, it's all personal preference. Like, at this point, because they're all so good and they're all underpriced, so it's just like there's only Salah that's correctly priced. Yeah, like, as in Salah's the right price, or maybe a bit too much, right? And then the others are just so much underpriced. It's like you can have him for a raw points play, but then you just get in all the value in your other 4 midfield slots. You know what I mean? So I think
the Arsenal players are well priced, in my opinion.
I think they're correctly priced. I was going to say that in my section. They're the right price, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't have many of those still on wildcard for sure. Midfielders, I wouldn't go near them. I don't think.
Yeah, I think 8 and 8 I think 8.5 is the right price for those Arsenal mids. I think that is absolutely spot on. I think they've done really well with that. Yeah.
Should we move on to the
Let's
next
do yours,
one?
mate.
All right, let's go. It's turned into about a 3 hour show, so I won't spend too much time on it. But yeah, not looking too bad this week. Where I did my double transfer last week and I got Mbuma and Wissa, it basically added an extra player to my team because I had two non-starting forwards, and I was a little bit worried with Guardiola. You never know if he's going to get benched by Pep. And then Richarlison as well. He's not been playing very well. I don't think they got many options, so he has to kind of start him. But yeah, I was just a little bit worried just in case. And obviously, Gabriel isn't starting for me either. So I really needed. I wouldn't normally do the two transfers there, but they was both rising. Both got 3 out of 4 home fixtures, even though they blanked. And I just needed a little extra boost with that extra player. So that's pretty much why I done it. So not sure what I'll do this week. Probably will get rid of Richarlison for someone. Just I can't have him any longer. I think he's got to
go. Sven went down injured yesterday, didn't he, as well?
He did, yes. That's added to my problems now. So I've got Botman and Gabriel. So I'm back in that situation where if they both don't play, then I've got Gvardiol. But I think Gvardiol probably he's done enough to keep that place. And Akanji didn't play this week for whatever reason. Nobody's too sure. Probably injured, I think. But he didn't travel. Stones is still injured as well. So hopefully he keeps his place. So as long as that happens, I'm okay with that. And I've still got a bit of money in the bank as well to potentially move something else somewhere. I'll probably look at Pickford to Areola once Pickford's good fixtures are out of the way. So I've got a little bit more money to upgrade players somewhere if I want along the line. So not too sure what I'm going to do this week, but anything that sticks out for you guys?
I think you got the two spots right. It's Gabriel or it's Richarlison in terms of moving. Or you mean I'd probably move Gabriel on, to be honest with you. I don't know where to, but
I think I'll probably do a Dogie, maybe just terms of value.
I was just seeing apparently Planet FPL are saying that they think Davis might start in that position next week, which sounds odd, but
we'll see. Maybe. I still don't mind Saliba, to be honest, going forward. Like it's kind of like a season keeper. Just I think he's going to tick along. So I could always just do the obvious move. Gabriel to Saliba is a little bit more money now. But yeah, there's a few 4.5s. There's still the Villa defenders who we touched on earlier. Maybe
Rico Henry still. Yeah, got good fixtures. Like I like the Villa ones, I think.
Yeah, I'm not fussed about having too much money in defence either. So Gabriel down to someone's perfectly fine, I think. And then, yeah, that'll give me just a little bit of extra money elsewhere if I need it. Josh, should we move on to you?
Oh, I would roll in your spot, by the way.
Yeah, like I said, international break, that's the thing.
I think you'll end up with 10 players a lot here.
Yeah.
It's part of the fun. Now, Richarlison always comes on if he doesn't start, right? I think he will start still. As I said last week, I think they're going to do it this week. I think they're going to switch him this week. I think Son plays up top this week. I think Richarlison plays off the left. So he's too like astute to not see that something's going wrong with Richarlison playing. He's just not looking good in the middle at the moment. So
and Son as well. I don't think Son's really been that great this season. So switching him could make a lot of sense just to shake things up a little bit.
Yeah, I think he might switch him finally this week. And if Richarlison's playing off the left, I think it might just spark a little bit of something, give him a bit more confidence. I think he feels more comfortable there. There's not as much pressure on him there.
Running the defense, yeah.
Yeah, and Son loves a bit. Like Son is the star of this team still. I mean, that's not true actually. I think Maddison's getting there. I think Maddison might be the star of this team actually, but
yeah, I think
Son is still a superstar within this team. Like him, the front four is actually still brilliant. Like as a four, I think it's really good. Kulusevski's not quite cheap enough here, but again on Fanteam, he's an absolute steal. I mean, he's just underpriced, right? He's nailed on the right hand side, so he's just brilliant. Yeah, I think Richarlison starts, and that's why I want to keep him. I think.
Talking of keeping him, the Tottenham triple up for you.
I mean, you've just told me the one I got last week that I benched Dingo's points, and now he's dropped, so that'd be amazing. Just like the as bad as you can play, basically, that would be. If I bought him in, benched him, and then he just wasn't starting after that. But what was the reasoning for that Doyle tactical? Or
sorry, I wasn't listening to you.
Just that Ben Davies is really good, or
I'm not sure. Didn't see the reasoning. It was on Twitter. I saw just before I came on this.
All right, that's
So
that is a problem. I got my boy Osula. As I say, I think Archer plays now, so it's going to be him or Traore who doesn't play.
I think if I was you, I'd swap that first and third on the bench. Because I think Osula, if he don't start and Archer plays, he might just come on for a 1-pointer. Whereas I think Sheffield United could easily get a clean sheet this week. It's not, quite a high probability that they get a clean sheet against Everton. So I think I'd rather Bulldog.
I saw who they had in goal the other day because he's just not been a consideration for anyone in pre-season or anything. It's got Fodderingham. He's absolute rubbish. He's a rubbish goalkeeper, and he's always been a rubbish goalkeeper as well. I'm just like staggered that this is a Premier League team, as you alluded to earlier, JB. Just like they are so crap. I think even Everton will score this weekend. I really do.
They ain't scored yet.
I don't know about that.
What's your XG, Doyle? 7 or something, is it so far?
Yeah, 6, yeah.
6, yeah. Just Mopay can't quite put it in the onion bag, can he? Is DCL playing now? Or?
No, he's concussed, mate. So he's in the company. He's been in protocol.
A bit of plastic
our
surgery
NFL
for
friends,
DCL.
our NFL worries are coming to the Premier League now as well. But now we got big man Beto. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. We got Jack Harrison coming at some point as well. I forgot we'd signed him.
Yeah, he's a good player. I saw he was on.
We'll actually have a decent attack once they all come back. Once we've got Harrison there, hopefully Calvert-Lewin or better, one of the two. Dan Juma's looked good since he joined. Decore looks good if he can't bloody score. Yeah, we'll have a decent front line.
That's the Everton FC podcast on for the week. We had to have a little rant about him, didn't we? And how great now.
Yeah.
These Arsenal fixtures are absolutely rubbish. I'm gonna sell Saka, I think. I might sell Saka this week, I think. I might keep him for the Man United game because I do see goals in that game.
Who would you get?
That would be for Sterling. I'm either going to do Richarlison to Sterling or Saka to Sterling. I've got 2 transfers, so I can't roll like JB. I have to do something, you know what I mean? My bench is looking a little bit thin now, but it's still okay at the moment. If Adogi doesn't play, I do get Saliba or Bulldog on, so I still think I'd rather play Saliba over Bulldog, but I think it's really close. I do think that's quite close.
I think, I don't know. I think United have got a much better chance of scoring than Everton.
Yeah, and I'm playing 2 Man United midfielders, so I think I should probably just commit to it.
Everton haven't scored a goal this season, so they're away.
Legit.
It's been a bit quite unfortunate that they haven't.
It has, yeah. No, like you said, their XG is really high, so it seems like they should have. But yeah, again, I don't know. DCL obviously out again.
I think he'll be back for next week, I imagine. Like, surely, concussion can't keep up for 2 weeks, surely.
Yeah, but his face might be like the Elephant Man, so I don't know.
Might help him.
Yeah, the other things I could do, obviously, I could just tidy up the bench a little bit. There's a few things looming here. I really liked the Areola Turner rotation, by the way. I posted it in our chat earlier, didn't I? But Turner's I don't think he's going to start if they sign the Benfica goalie. So, yeah, again, a non-starter, I think.
Rumours about Jose Sarr as well. Jose Sarr to Forest, apparently.
Oh, are they just selling their whole team?
Yeah, apparently they've got no money. They're in real bad trouble. That's why they're trying to sell everyone. So, yeah, it's some of the rumours anyway. Jose Sarr to... I don't know how true it is.
Forest just try and sign all the keepers. They're like you. They're like the real life version of your FPL team, Josh. Just keepers changing left, right, and centre every week.
This is why I've got to keep Pickford. I've just committed to it. I can't do a move. I'll get addicted again. It's like, you know what it's like? It's like crack. I'll just start moving around every week. Just be like, oh, I've got another free transfer. I could just do another keeper move. But yeah, I can't. I've got to stick with Pickford. The fixtures are still good, so I'm still happy. Turner's got a really good game next week as well, I think. If I remember right. Yeah, Burnley at home. That seems a pretty good home fixture. So for Forest. Forest are good at home, as I say. So, yeah. Not going to do a goalie move. I'll promise you boys that. Osula to Archer looks reasonable. If Archers get straight in the team, I think that just makes sense as just a bit of extra bench cover. Saliba to something, given I've just said I hate the Arsenal fixtures coming up. So that could be an early get off, I think, as well. JB, you like him as a bit of a ticker, though, don't you, I think?
He's okay, yeah. I think long term, if you're looking to not really touch your defence for a while and you just want to get that position sort of sewn up. I think Saliba over the course of the season will return good value for you. I don't think he's like a massive upside player, but he's got a massive floor, I think. So you're always going to get points with Saliba over the course of the season. He won't win you nothing, but he certainly will keep you
Good
steady.
at Baps. Yeah, he's good at the Baps as well. Yeah, he's just a good pick. He's a good pick, I think.
I think
Might
probably
leave him
5.5. That's why I think he's probably 5.2 now, maybe with Gabriel's troubles, but yeah, still slightly unpriced.
The other one is just maybe with all the money we've got this year, it might just be worth moving Bulldog to a 4-5. Maybe there's just so much more to be gained there. You know what I mean? From having a better I was gonna get ahead on Botman because I really wanted Botman, and now he's gone down because he's the real value I think for the fixtures they've got coming up. Their fixtures go really good as of next week, so not this week, but next week their fixtures go amazing. So JB's already ahead on that one. That's why I mentioned Trippier earlier as well. So if I'm looking at getting Trippier, I might have to find squeeze a bit more money out of somewhere. So that would be where selling Saka might be a thing. That might be a good move to get the money out. You know what I mean? And just do Sterling. I think is top of my list. I might punt Foden, but with Champions League coming up again, you probably only get 2 weeks out of Foden. Then it's just a lottery again. It just becomes flipping a coin, doesn't it? Each week, as good as he's been, he's still only a guy who'll start 2 out of every 3 games. Even as good as he's been. So yeah, very annoying. We've been saying he should be nailed for years, and it still hasn't happened. You know what I mean? So I just don't think the position he plays, like that kind of guy always gets rotated by Pep Guardiola. So it's just like they're just going to change it based on opposition, aren't they? So yeah,
we'll see. I think we'll see. With KDB out, he might become a bit more of a.
Yeah, he might take on the Bernardo Silva role from when KDB was last out. He might be the locking guy. You know what I mean? He might be. There is one who plays in the centre who just locks in normally. So maybe it'll be that, but. They've still got a guy called Bernardo Silva who can play that role as well, the Bernardo Silva role. So yeah, we'll see about that one. Who have they been playing on the right hand side? Is that where Foden's been playing a little? Because obviously it wasn't yesterday, but
yeah, I think he played. I think he played that sort of rotate that sort of position where he's on the right wing but coming inside quite a bit. Yeah, I think that's where he's been playing. I don't think anyone else has been playing there that I know of.
Yeah, I know Alvarez started 3 out of 3 as well, right?
Yeah.
That's a striker option, definitely, with the fixtures. Again, Champions League, it's quite short term. You get 2 weeks of it, and then it's just tossing a coin again. But he has looked really good, and he's a brilliant, brilliant player.
Yeah, I think I could have got him last week, and then I went with it instead because I didn't think about him. So
they signed Count Doku as well, didn't they? So he was on the bench, so you can't be too sure.
Yes, true. Forgot about
him.
Oh,
Bilva played off the right yesterday. That's great. I love Bernardo Silva. The good thing about the City guys is no one talks about this, but like when they start, they rarely get subbed off because he only makes like 1 or 2 subs a game, like in a lot of games. So when they do start, you do get 90 minutes, and then if it's the likes of a Foden, he will always be the one who subs on. Like he's the one who always comes off the bench, you know what I mean? And maybe Doku will come on in a few weeks as well as like another attacking option that comes on. But you're pretty likely to get 90 if they start. Like the rotation's a bit of an illusion, really. No, it's not the right thing to say. The rotation is very much a thing, but you do get the upside when they do start, you know what I mean? So in both minutes and output, so
yeah, he just basically don't sub off that many players, does he?
No, he just loves it. He's got his 11, and their squad is kind of a bit thin in some areas right now. Like with a few injuries they've got. I'm looking at the bench. Attacking wise, they've got Cole Palmer, they've got Doku who's just signed, so he's not ready to start by any means, and then Phil Foden on the bench from yesterday's game. Not as deep as it has been in previous years. Like in previous years, we've seen a bench that's got like 600 million on the bench, you know what I mean, for all the different positions. But with the defensive injuries at the moment and De Bruyne are injured and they've sold 2 players, they are quite thin on the ground. They're like thinner than they ever have been, I think.
I said that yesterday about the bench, it was full of kids.
So do you get do you think based on that our guys might just be more nailed this year? Do you think like Foden they've lost 2 bodies, right, essentially?
Yeah, I think so. It'll be interesting to see how this Doku guy does when he comes in, right? If he comes in as a superstar, then there'll be more rotation, but we'll see.
He'll play off the right, definitely. So, like,
Yeah, which is a worry.
Foden and Alvarez might be playing for one position. Like, the good thing about Foden is he can play all three of those. So,
yeah,
I don't think Grealish is as locked in as he was last year. So, Foden can definitely play there. And then, yeah, they're still bloody good, aren't they? I mean, the team's still ridiculous, isn't it? So,
yeah, we're still captaining Haaland despite his miss, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, he's the one constant with this team, which is why he's so highly priced and why he's so good, because he's just Mr. Reliable. He's just unbelievable. He could have scored about 4 again yesterday, just for a laugh. You know what I mean? Like, he could have actually scored 4 or 5 yesterday.
Yeah, his finishing's sort of come down a little bit from when he joined City. He had that sort of streak where everything he touched was going in, and now it seems a bit trickier for him. But
where would you set his goal line this year still?
what's he on now? 3?
2 or 3? He's on 3, yeah.
3.
He's level with Awani and Solly March.
Probably 30.
I think 30 is the line. Yeah, that's what I would have said as the line, I think. And I would take the over still, but I think that is a fair line. I think that's a good line. Just like, obviously an injury changes everything. It sort of doesn't make it count. But yeah, he hasn't scored every week so far. You know what I mean? He scored 2 out of 3 weeks. So yeah.
He missed a penalty.
Yeah. And you got to remember at the start of last year, he did have like 10 in 4 games or something. Like, he probably will have a run, but maybe not that good. You know what I mean? It might not be quite as high as that. So you're taking some off from last year. I think just law of averages. I think you're taking a few goals off from last year.
Okay, should we call it a day there?
We absolutely have to, yeah. So obviously, all in FPL on YouTube. We've also got that's separate words on Twitter. It's all in FPL, all one word, and that's our handle. Please follow us there. Subscribe on YouTube, and yeah, thanks for putting up with us for this long this week. It's been a long one, hasn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, have a good weekend, everyone. Good game week next week, and yeah, see you soon.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys. Bye.